Hello, everyone, and welcome again to We Need to Talk. I'm so glad you're joining us today. Please remember if you've not subscribed to the channel, kindly subscribe. My name is Abna Usua Nyanta, and I am the host for We Need to Talk. And today I have my beautiful guest. Her name is Jennifer, and I'm going to let her introduce herself and tell us something brief, and then we'll get started. So, Jennifer, go ahead.
My name is Jennifer. She already stated that. Jennifer Wilson, and I am here for We Need to Talk.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, your age, what you do for a living, where you're from.
Okay. So I am 29. I work for Brinks Home Security. So if you need a security system, no, I'm just kidding. and I'm from Ghana, obviously.
Which part of Ghana?
Accra. Uh-huh.
Okay. All right, everyone. So, as you heard, my guest, her name is Jennifer, and she's from Ghana. And she is here to talk with us today. I know for the past couple of weeks we've had professionals. Today we're going to be having a relaxed conversation more on a personal basis. So I hope you enjoy. Please remember to subscribe, and kindly share the link also to a friend, a family, anybody on your WhatsApp or anybody on your Facebook. Thank you all so much. Please remember, anytime you need anything African, you can contact O&O Signature for your dresses, for your necklaces, your earring, your waist beads, accessories from shoes, slippers, sandals, purses, everything in between. Call O&O Signature out 469-769-2306. Again, it's 469-769-2306. Thank you. And you can follow O&O Signature on Facebook and on Instagram at OO Signature. Again, it's OO Signature on Facebook and also on Instagram. So, Jennifer,
Yes, ma'am.
so this year we asked questions about Africa just to educate our audience. So, can you please tell us two countries in Africa and their capitals?
Okay, you said no Ghana, right?
You cannot say Ghana because so many times you've heard about Ghana.
Okay, we have Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria. We have Yaoundé, Cameroon, and two.
Hey, so you know
Monrovia, Liberia. Shout out to them.
Thank you, Jennifer. You see, this lady knows so much about it. I told her to just tell us just two, and she wanted to overdo herself. She did three. So thank you, Jennifer.
You're welcome. I named
Okay.
all the places I know people from.
Okay. All right. So today we are going to be talking about things within the African home. And we're going to get into Jennifer's life.
Okay.
And I hope you're ready for this.
I
You're on the
am.
hot seat today.
Oh.
Okay, Jennifer. So how old were you when you moved to America, when you came here?
I was 9.
Okay.
I was 9 years old.
Okay. And how was it like when you came? Like in terms of your home, how was the transition basically?
So it was okay. So when I first came here, I came by myself.
Okay.
My mom just came to drop me off in Massachusetts with my auntie, and it was a lot of difference, honestly speaking. What got me the most was the school system
Okay.
because we learned the matrix system, and then coming here and then learning something different made math very difficult for me
Okay.
to understand. Yeah. But as far as cultural differences, I was living with my auntie who was Ghanaian at the time, or she is Ghanaian. Not at the time. She is Ghanaian, and
Okay.
I was living with her, so it was almost the same. She was brought up in Ghana, so there wasn't any much of a cultural difference per
Okay,
se.
within the home.
Yeah.
Okay. So you moved here when you were 9. So you came when you were in elementary school?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And in school things were different, but back home everything was almost the same.
Almost the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you're here, you're in school. What were some of the challenges at school and in the country as a whole for you when you came?
Okay. Definitely a big cultural difference when it comes to race
Okay.
and that's coming from white, black people, everything. I remember the days where they used to call us African booty scratchers, you know. So I was, yeah, it was very hard, especially moving down to Texas. Up in the East Coast, you didn't really have that. I don't know. Maybe Ghanaians are. There's a lot of Ghanaians in the East Coast. I
Okay.
think so. But coming to Texas was big, 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 big difference. Big
Okay.
difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the school that you went to, were there other African children?
No,
Okay.
no.
So how did you relate to the children that were in your school?
I really didn't. I only had a few friends. Especially, moving is such a hassle. So having to I've moved so much, like having to move from different continents and then coming to Massachusetts, New York, and then Texas. I was just over it.
Overwhelmed.
Yeah, so it was just, um, yeah, no, I didn't.
You didn't relate.
No, I didn't really like have friends like that, and it's also had to do with also cultural background too, because
Mm-hmm.
you weren't allowed. I mean, you were allowed to have friends, but you couldn't go hang out with friends because you know how African parents are. Can't go hang out with friends or sleep over at people's houses. So it was just school, home, school, home, school, home.
Okay. And now that you said you know how African parents are, we're gonna get into how African parents are. Okay.
Okay.
So now you're here, you're moving all over the place, and you're hardly even making friends at school. So when you got home, was your aunt or was your family supportive? Were they prepare you? Do you believe they prepared you for what was ahead when you guys moved here and when you guys moved to all the different places?
Definitely not my aunt. She did not prepare me whatsoever at all, at
Okay.
all.
Okay.
And coming to Texas, when I came to Texas, that's when my whole family decided to come to America.
Okay.
So it made the transition a little bit easier.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. All right, Jennifer. So now we're about to get on to the tough stuff. So now let's fast forward to you go to high school. At this point, you have acquainted yourself a little bit more with the American culture, right? What were some of the struggles in you trying to be more relatable to the American culture and kind of leave behind the African
African
culture at
culture.
home? Yeah.
Um, One of the things I have to say about that is how it was very hard. It was very hard to be relatable to to the American culture because we're Africans and African parents don't understand that. You know, I remember trying out for the track team and making it and going to practice, but you know, my mom didn't believe I was doing track, so she would like, "You need to be home at this time," and I'm like, "I have practice after school," you know.
Yeah.
You know, so it was very hard to adapt. I actually eventually ended up quitting track because she was like, "Come home after school, 4 o'clock. That's it." You
Okay.
know, so I ended up like it made it hard to be. It made it hard to
Sociable.
yeah
Okay.
yeah
Did your mom ever attend any of your track meets?
never.
Okay. What do you Was there any type of support from the family in any of the school activities that you got into?
No, well, and I don't blame my parents. Maybe a little bit, but I they had just moved from Africa. I was already
Themselves?
here, yeah.
Yeah.
So they didn't understand like what was going on or what
Yeah.
happens in school. Eventually, they loosened up with my brothers, not with me.
You
I
know
was
what
a
he's
test,
saying.
yeah.
Of course. The older ones are always the experimental ones, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I wasn't allowed to do like all the after school activities, but my brothers were in band and basketball, and I was like, but you guys never, what the, you know?
Okay, so at that point, your parents also got acquainted with how things were done
Yeah,
here.
for
Okay,
sure.
so now you're in high school. You quit all the what other things did you get into?
That was it. Oh, and dance. I did dance for our school dance team, but that was it. I was able to do dance because I had dance class.
Okay.
So I didn't have to like stay after school and practice because my dance teacher was team coordinator.
Okay.
So she would teach me to dance in school,
Okay.
and then I'll be able to just go home and practice that at home myself. And then whenever we had a performance, then I'll just join the rest of the crew.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for everyone that's joining us today. Please remember to subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Today we are talking about moving to America, getting acquainted as a child and growing up here in America. Jennifer is my guest. She said she came here when she was 9, and so far we've gotten to a point where she's told us about her getting involved in school, but then she eventually had to quit because her parents did not know, they themselves were not prepared for the American culture. Hence, she was not to be mingled with the American culture. So if you're a parent and you're watching me and maybe you're new here or maybe you're not familiar, please remember that things are run a bit different in every place. And so when your child want to get into activities or any type of events, you always have the right to call the school to find out if they truly are part of it. And then also it is so important that you support, you support, you support. One of the things that you see with American children or like the Westerners is the parents are so involved and so supportive of what they do.
That's very
And they
true.
get like they really dive into the roots and find out every aspect of what their children are into, and any type of supports that they need, they provide it for them, and they flourish so well in that. So we you want to say something
Yeah,
about that?
I was
Okay.
just gonna say that you're right about that. And the way I grew up made me, I feel like made me be a better mom, because when my daughter, if she wants to do anything, we do it. She's in Scouts right now, and we go every Monday. Me and her, I joined their camp meetings. You know, do stuff that usually African parents would be like, "Yeah, go just." You know,
Yeah.
they don't want to. They don't want to go camping with you. They might miss a football game or something that's very important to you. But I try to be there for Victoria all the time. So
Okay. All right. So Jennifer, you just opened the next chapter of our conversation. So you have a daughter.
yes,
You just mentioned her name.
yes.
And how old is Victoria?
She's 10 years old.
Okay. So now I'm sure some people will be trying to do the math because you said your age and they're going to take it out. So when you had Victoria, you were how old?
19.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about that.
Okay.
I hope the seat is not too hard for you.
No.
Okay.
Good.
So how was it when you first found out that you were pregnant? What went through your mind?
um, I knew the consequences of my actions.
Okay.
That's for sure. I knew the consequences of my actions, but one thing that I knew was that I was gonna keep it regardless.
Okay.
You know, I was like, I'm gonna keep it. I'm 19. I'm out of high school. Um, there is really no reason not to keep it. You know, and I decided to do that.
Okay. Who was the first person that you spoke to about or you told that you were pregnant?
Oh, my mom. I told her straight up.
Okay. So
No,
can
not
you
straight up. It was like a few months later, but
a few months? Okay. How few or how long?
like 3 or 4 months, because I
Okay.
wasn't shown until I was like 7 months. So.
Okay. How was the conversation with your mom like?
Honestly, I don't even remember.
Okay.
But I just remember her being very angry, and of course, like she didn't want me to keep it. She was like, "You're too young," which is understandable, but I decided to just keep it anyways.
Okay. And then how was the response from the community? I mean, the African community when you got pregnant and finally your stomach started showing?
Oh, let's talk about that. Okay. That's one thing that the African community needs to I don't know. They need to stop being so judgmental
Okay.
about things, because honestly, I did get pregnant at a young age, but I felt like it was certain things that my mom had pushed me towards.
Okay.
And like she kicked me out. You know, our relationship was not good back then, but it's great now. Like it's so weird how life works out.
It all turned out.
Yeah. Our relationship was horrible, so she ended up kicking me out, which was why I kind of ended up getting pregnant, because I had to go live with Victoria's dad.
Okay.
And obviously that happened.
Okay.
But when I first got pregnant, it was a lot of hate from the African community. a lot of judgment, and honestly, I didn't care. I didn't care. I was still doing my own thing. I was like, I don't care.
Okay. What was there ever a point where like an adult within the community or from your family ever sat you down and kind of spoke with you about what was going on with you being pregnant, maybe consequences, or asked you if they could support you, do something, advise you, anything like that?
One of the person that I will forever love to this day, and she know I love her, is Miss Auntie Anita.
Okay.
Okay, so she was never, ever, ever, ever judgmental. She was like, "This is the decisions you make. You want to keep it, fine." But she gave me the best advice ever, and I appreciate her for that because I felt like she was the only person during that time that actually took the time to listen to me and to understand what I was going through.
Okay.
And yeah, she knew the whole situation with my mom, so she understood what was going on better than anybody else that was just like judging.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I want us to kind of go back a little bit and we're gonna come back to like the support system within the community. But what were some of the things that happened within the home that you mentioned pushed you to do or push you to the point where you got pregnant?
Um, hmm. Okay, so for my 18th birthday, this is when I got kicked out. For my 18th birthday, I wanted to go out to eat with my friends.
Okay.
And I told my mom I would be back at 8 p.m.
Okay.
And she was like, no. And I think it was like a Friday or Thursday. And she was like, you better come home after school, straight home, and that's it. And I was like, no, I'm about to graduate in a few months. I just turned 18. Can I please just like enjoy my 18th birthday and just have fun? I'm just going to dinner. I'm not going to the club, nothing like that. And she was like, no, no. But I decided, being hard headed, 18 years old, I decided, okay, I'm just going to go anyway. So I went out with my friends and we went out, we ate, came back home probably like 8:45, doors were locked. And I got kicked out with no clothes but what I had on.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's what just kind of led me to like, I called, my daughter's dad, and he picked me up, and his family was willing to let me in.
Okay. All right. So was there something that right now at this age you look back to that you believe you should have done that could have changed the outcome of that?
I probably could have just stayed home, but
Okay, on the
honestly,
evening of your birthday.
yeah,
Okay.
because I was always a goody two shoes. I never did anything because I was so afraid of my mom. That's one thing that's wrong with the African community. They instill fear in their children so much that the children don't trust talking to them about situations.
Okay.
So I was very afraid of my mom, but I just decided like, I'm 18. I had to go. I honestly don't regret it because I didn't do anything bad, in my opinion.
Okay.
Coming home at 8:45 is not late for an 18-year-old to me.
Okay. And what approach do you believe now, looking back again, that your mom could have taken that could have also changed the?
I feel like she could have been a little bit more understanding.
Okay.
That would have helped a little bit. Like, it's my birthday. Why not just go have dinner with my friends? You could just be a little bit. You could say, okay, I'll be with you guys, or I'll sit in the back and you guys sit at this table, and I can watch you if you don't trust me. But
It didn't work out.
yeah.
Okay. So prior to like your 18th birthday, what was the relationship like with you and your mom?
It was very rocky, like very, 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 very rocky, because being the oldest and being a girl, that's you're a slave to the house, basically.
When you say slave, what kind of things are you talking about? What did you have to do?
Like, I understand my brothers, they are messy as hell. They will mess up their bedrooms, and my mom will be like, you have to go clean it up. And I'm like, why do I have to clean it up? Because you're the oldest and you're the girl. Men don't clean up. And I'm like, since when? What? They're spoiled. So they would come home, leave their backpacks in the living room, toys everywhere, and I would be the one having to clean it. And I hated that. I hated how my brothers would get away with a lot of stuff and I would have to clean up after them. And honestly, I think that's what strained the relationship a lot more because I was so angry at my mom for just like treating us so different.
At that point, like with all that was happening, did you ever try to talk to your mom about it?
No, you can't talk to an African woman. Especially an African older woman. No, they're always right. They're always right.
Okay, well,
And they never apologize, okay, for anything they do wrong.
I think in the past I've spoken with a parent on this show, and he has mentioned that parents should apologize. So for the audience that are watching us, again, this is not the first time I'm hearing this, that
Yeah.
African parents don't apologize. So does that mean that African parents are perfect and they never like do anything wrong, or they're just right, or what is it?
They just hate to be wrong. That's what I think it is.
So now with you and Victoria, do you ever apologize?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'm
Right.
gonna find out from Victoria. Victoria, audience can see you. I'll find out after the show, okay? If your mom is lying. Okay.
I always apologize to Victoria, and she only gets spanking like once or twice a year because she's honestly well behaved.
Okay.
And I try to talk to her as a human being because that's something that I feel like African parents don't do
Okay.
with kids because
Their
they think
children.
kids are just, I don't know, but they never really take the time to talk to their kids as human being, and then they'll say stupid stuff like, "Are you mad? Are you foolish girl?" or something like that. I don't
The
like to use,
comments.
yeah, I don't like to use that word because you're breaking down your child rather than building them up. So when she makes a mistake, I'm like, okay, let's sit down and talk. Do you know you did this wrong? You know you're gonna get a spanking for it, right? And I never, ever, ever try to whoop her with anger.
Okay.
If I'm angry, I have to step away until I'm calm enough, and then I spank her. And I never use my hand. I always, there's this thing we call the no-no spoon. Sorry, Victoria. There's this thing we call the no-no spoon. That way she's like afraid of the spoon and not afraid of me
Okay.
when I'm like spanking her. But she's honestly well behaved, and she only gets spanking like once or twice a year.
Okay. So now, um, you've mentioned that you and your mom's relationship wasn't the greatest, but looking in, how was your mom's relationship with your brothers at that
Oh.
point?
It was great. I was jealous. I was jealous. I feel like my mom has always babied them. So, come on, my little brother, the middle one, he got breastfed until he was 2 years old or 3 years
So
old.
were
So
you
he was-
jealous of like the breastfeeding too?
No, but I'm just saying that. You can imagine how
You just
spoiled.
want to make that point.
Yes, you can
Okay.
imagine how spoiled he was. Okay,
Okay.
but yeah.
All right. So things were great. So would you say that it was probably because of your gender as a female that was causing that friction between you and your mom?
Yes, I feel like that and being the oldest, and that's what is in the culture, in African culture.
Okay.
Being a woman, you had to be technically like a servant, you know. It's not a
These
lie.
terms that you're using, Jennifer, I don't want to consider myself as a servant or anything, but like what kind of chores or what are you doing that's making you classify the females as servants?
Cleaning after my brothers. They got hands and legs too, okay? They can clean their own rooms, you know.
Okay. Okay. So now we're gonna move forward from when you were back home. So now you've been kicked out of the home. You know that you're pregnant, and at what point did you go back? So did you have to go back to your house, your parents' house, to tell your mom you were pregnant whilst you were living out, or did you have to tell her after you moved back home?
It was after I moved back home. She eventually, like after a year, she eventually was like, come back home, da 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 da. It's dangerous out there. And you know, me being a smart ass back then, I was like, ah, it wasn't dangerous when you kicked me out.
So you like to be sassy, huh?
A little bit.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So yeah, I moved back then, and I was like, surprise,
And then you told
moving
her.
with two people.
Okay.
Yeah.
So whilst you were out there, like whilst you were living outside of your home, did you have any type of communication with your mom or your family?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. Maybe
Okay.
with my brothers, but not really with my parents.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you've moved back in. So did you tell your parents about the pregnancy whilst, like, right when you moved back in, or did it take some time?
It took some time. It took some time.
What was the thought process for you when before you told them? Like, what was going through your mind? What was the reaction that you were
Um,
expecting?
definitely. Oh, from them.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I was expecting a lot of anger. I was like her telling me not to keep it. Of course, I was expecting that, and I was just like, I'm gonna put my foot down and do what I have to do.
Okay. Okay, so now you're back home. You've told your parents you're pregnant. They've told you their opinions, and you also have an idea of what you wanted to do. Now, move us forward to when you had the baby. So, in between that time that you told them to when you had the baby, what was the supports like in the house?
It was not good at all, actually.
Okay.
It was bad. Me and my mom did not speak for most of the time. But as soon as Victoria came out, oh my gosh, this is the funniest story. We get back to the house probably like a day or two after coming back from the hospital, and my mom was like, I'm gonna take Victoria a bath. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna take Victoria a bath. And we literally argued about who was gonna take Victoria a bath.
What did you know about giving a bath to a baby,
I,
Jennifer?
I didn't, but I was so angry at her for
Oh,
treating
so
me so bad
how
throughout the
she?
whole pregnancy that I was like, what makes you think you could just bathe my daughter when you told me not to keep her, you know? So
Okay,
I
so
was
it was
holding
the
a lot.
anger.
I was holding a lot of anger for sure.
Okay. Well, thank you everyone that is joining us live today. This is We Need to Talk. Please remember to subscribe to the channel if you've not done so. I was looking at the post last week and it looks like most of the viewers are not subscribed. So please remember to subscribe if you've not done so. Kindly share the link to a family member, to a friend, to a neighbor, any contacts on your phone, on your social media platforms, so they too can get the piece of this action. Please remember O&O Signature, O&O Signature. You can follow us on Instagram at OO Signature. You can also follow us on Facebook at OO Signature. We sell everything African. As you see me today, you cannot see me fully. I will give a whole full view at the end of the show. But everything that you see on me when we need to talk is going on is from O&O Signature. We have your dresses for women, for men, for children, all ages and all sizes. We have accessories from necklaces, earrings, waist beads, anklets, purses, wallets, sandals, slippers. Summer is coming, so please contact O&O Signature 469-769-2306. Again, it's 469-769-2306 for all your African wear needs. Thank you. We are talking to Jennifer Wilson, very beautiful lady right here.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So Jennifer is taking us on a journey through her life and how it was like in her home and how it was like having to deal or live with her African parents. And Jennifer mentioned she also has a beautiful daughter. Her name is Victoria. She's right under the camera. You can see her, but she's here too. And she's talking about some of the challenges and the difficulties that she faced when she got pregnant, when she moved there, how the transition was like, and then life forward. So thank you again for joining us. So Jennifer, now I want us to talk about Victoria's dad, if you don't mind.
Okay.
So prior to the pregnancy, how was your relationship with him like?
Our relationship was actually pretty good. We dated for like 4 years or
Oh,
whatnot. Yeah.
okay. Was he African? Was he American or
He was
white?
African.
He was African?
Yeah.
Okay. And how was his parents' response to you guys dating?
Um, it was actually good, honestly speaking, and we weren't expecting that from African parents.
Okay.
And they were actually very welcoming from the very beginning. Very beginning.
Okay. What age did you guys start dating?
I was maybe junior in high school, so
So around
probably like
17.
16, 17.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so whenever, so did you tell your parents that you were dating when you started dating?
Oh man, yes. And I should have just kept that a secret.
you you
Maybe
said
life
you
would have been
should
easier.
have.
I should have kept that a secret.
Okay, so now tell us, since you said you should have kept it a secret, it means it's no longer a secret. So how
Okay.
was it like when you told them?
You got a boyfriend? You know, you're not allowed to have boyfriends. Da 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 da. I was like, okay, but I do. So what we gonna do from here? No, but she did not like it one bit. He wasn't allowed to come over. None of that. So, yeah.
And then you guys told his parents, and what did they say?
They, mm, they didn't really say anything. They were just welcoming.
Okay.
They were very
Very
welcome.
receptive of you.
Yeah.
Okay. And in the times that you guys were dating, now I know. So in your mom's mind, did she still believe you were with the guy, or did she believe that after she told you you couldn't date, you ended the relationship?
Oh, she knew I was still with him.
She knew you were
I
stubborn.
made sure.
How did you make sure of that?
You know what? Just going to hang out with him, she would know,
Okay.
stuff like that. But I was like,
Were you telling her when you guys were going out to hang out?
No, I wasn't. But African women have that intuition too.
They always know, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. And then with his parents, did they, since you said they were receptive of you guys' relationship, did they ever sit to have any conversation with you guys in terms of what you guys should do, what you guys should not do, the consequences of your actions if you did something?
No. African parents don't like to think that their kids have sex, but they do. So, they just don't like talking about it, which is something that they need to talk about. They need to talk to their kids who are of age. I feel like once you're 14, 15, that's a conversation that you need to have with your kids and let them know the consequences of all those things instead of just like putting it out of mind, out of sight. That is not good. That is not good.
Would it have been helpful? Should either of the parents spoken with you guys about it?
I think so. I think if somebody would have sat me down and said, use protection or talk to me about sex, I think it would have been a whole different situation. But you don't have that.
This is gonna be a little too personal, and when I ask, and if you mind, you can say let's move forward, and
Okay.
if it's okay. But did you guys get involved in your home or his home, or did you guys get involved outside? Should we move forward?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now, in the times that you guys were together, what were some of the things that you guys were doing?
We always had fun, no matter where we were at park, chilling at the house. That was
Okay. Now let's come all the way till you know you're pregnant now, and you tell him about it. How was his reaction?
He was shocked, but he kind of knew too. Okay. But one thing I really respected about him is that he gave me the option. He's like, it's up to you. He didn't say get rid of it or keep it. He was just like, whatever you want to do, we can go from here.
Okay. And now he said this to you, and you at that point, did you tell him you were gonna keep it?
Yes. I think yeah.
Okay.
I don't really remember, but
Okay. So you've decided you want to keep it. You've informed him about it. Was he supportive of you keeping the pregnancy?
oh yeah, he was very supportive throughout the pregnancy. If I'm hungry and he's at work, he will find a way to give me food.
Okay.
Yeah, he was very supportive.
Okay. All right. So now you've moved back home. You have the baby, and Victoria's here. So how is the dad's relationship? Were you guys still dating when you had her?
For a little bit, and then
Okay.
we ended up breaking up.
What caused the breakup?
Cheater, cheater, pumpkin eater.
Okay, so for those watching us that don't know that song, what does that mean?
He was just a cheater, so I had to let that go.
Okay.
It's good to know your worth, whether you have a kid or not.
Okay. All right. So at this point, you find out that he's also dating other girls, doing stuff that he's not supposed to be doing. What what went through your mind?
Um, honestly, we I can explain it because one thing I can't stand is cheaters. So once somebody does that to me, I look at it as thank God I didn't end up with this person. Like I don't look at it as yeah, you hurt my feeling. I'll be like, thank you for showing me who you truly are.
Okay.
That way I don't have to deal with you any further from now on. And that's how it was.
Emotionally, were you okay when the breakup came?
Emotionally, I was not okay. Obviously, I had Victoria was like 6 months ish, and I was not okay. But I was just like, it's whatever.
Did
I,
did you talk to anybody about it?
no, I did not.
How did you deal with it?
I just dealt. I don't know. I deal with my situations by myself most of the time.
Okay.
Yeah, it's. I don't know how to explain. I just had to deal with it.
Ho- Now
Sorry.
it's okay. I'm trying to find like the words to use in this situation. So you don't tell anybody about it. You are newly you're newly you're new to motherhood, and at your age you were not that old. Like you are not experiencing life. You have all these things going on, and then you have the pressures from the home and then the community. Were there ever like suicidal thoughts? Were there ever like horrible things that you thought of doing to yourself?
There was suicidal thoughts for a little bit. Yeah, there was. I'm not gonna lie about that. There was a little bit of suicidal thoughts, just mostly because of what I was going through at home. Also, the African community judging, but when I look at Victoria, that was what like kept me going. And most people don't know this, but sometimes children are really saving their parents' lives, and
Yeah.
they just don't know.
Okay. All right. So on the days that you felt like you wanted to be suicidal, and when I say suicidal for our audience, she wanted to end her life. What are some of the things that held you back and prevented you from not actually taking the steps?
Victoria.
Just looking at your daughter.
Just Victoria. Because if it wasn't for her, there was really nobody else that I was able to,
Live for.
yeah.
Okay.
I wasn't cool with my mom at the time. Broke up with, boyfriend. And it was just me and Victoria. But I did it because of her.
Okay, so at this point, when you're feeling all sorts of way with everything that has happened, did you have any regrets of ever being with Victoria's dad?
Never.
Okay.
Never. Because every situation in life is supposed to teach you a lesson. You're supposed to grow from that. You're not supposed to regret it. Life is going to have so many downs, so many ups. You can't dwell on the downs. You really can't. Just just look at it and be like, okay, I made this choice. I've learned from this. What can I do from now on not to, make that choice again or make that decision again? And that's how I look at it.
Okay. So what did you learn from that whole relationship with Victoria's dad?
Ooh, girl, I learned a lot. And, because of him and because of some of my exes too, I now know what to look for in a guy from the very beginning that I meet him. So if I go on a date with a guy and he shows me a certain sign that I've seen before, that's it. That's it for me because I know what that sign is, what it's gone through,
Okay.
what I've gone through. So, yeah.
And now for maybe a teenager that's maybe in middle school or in high school in an African home watching us, and they're sitting there saying, "Oh, I feel what Jennifer is feeling. Yes, I want to date too. My mom don't want to listen. My dad don't want to listen. Girl, you just don't know. Like." What would you like to say to that girl that's watching you right now and believe that they are ready to date, but their parents are not open to even hear them out?
That is a very tough decision. If you can find somebody else that can talk to your parents, I think that might be the easiest way because parents are not really going to take the chance to like take the time and chance to like listen to their children. So if you can get somebody else that is well trusted, maybe somebody else that your parents talk to, like, or trust, you can get them to understand and maybe talk to your parents about letting you date. And yeah, just because somebody's dating don't mean they're having sex, guys. So
Okay. Okay. So, as a mom with Victoria now, at what age are you gonna be open to let her date?
I'm thinking around 14 and 15, but I'm gonna be there at the first date. The first few dates, girl, you know. I might have to drive y'all over there to the movies. I'll sit in the back or whatever, but
Okay.
yeah.
And I wanna ask this for the sake of the parents that are watching. What 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 essentially is the importance of letting a teenager date?
Trust. You have to trust your kids. If you feel like you did a good job raising your child, then trust that and just trust them. Like I said, just because you're dating somebody doesn't mean you're having sex with them. You can have a talk about sex and let them know, you know, sex is not bad, first of all. It is bad if you make the wrong decisions, but it's not bad in general. So I feel like parents just need to talk to their children, um, make some ground rules for dating. You know, you can only go to the movies or you can only go to dinner. Like, make some ground rules, but give them that little step because these are young adults. In 4 or 5 years, they're 14, 15, 4 or 5 years, you know, they'll be adults, you know, and they have to have some type of stepping stool. And you have to trust them just a little bit, give them a little bit of trust every time. Now, it's a whole different situation if they break your trust. That's a whole different situation. But if you feel like you raised your child to make the right decisions, then why not trust them?
Okay. All right. Thank you, Jennifer.
You're
So
welcome.
now we're gonna move all the way back to the community. So now you've had Victoria. She's no longer in your belly, and you come out. What were some of the comments that people said to you when you come out to the African community with Victoria?
Most of them didn't say to my face. Surprise.
Okay.
Most of them didn't say to my face. Most of it was just rumors that was being heard or around. And I just never let it bother me in a way because this is people I don't care about. You know, this is people I don't care about. So it's like, what is your opinion when you don't know who I am? You know?
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Jennifer. This conversation is very interesting. I think we should make the show 2 hours today instead of one.
That's fine.
uh, we don't want to keep the audience for too long, but I'm gonna read over some comments on YouTube.
Okay.
SKT in Focus said, let the chat begin." Mr. Daniel Ampofo said, "Where's Sanyo? What's good, Sanyo?" And he said, "Boss, I base." So I think they're just having their own conversation. And then Mr. Daniel Ampofo said, laugh out loud. It all depends on what we're going to talk about, bro. Okay. Well, SKT in Focus said, "American culture in SMP and AMTV. I'm watching." Mr. Daniel Ampofo said, "Kudos to Jennifer for the courage to sit down and talk about what you've been through. It surely be a a learning experience for someone, be it an adult or a youngster." Mr. Ability that said hello, all Mr. SKT in Focus gave a thumbs up. Yes, Jennifer. It takes a lot of courage to sit down, especially in our African community, to discuss things that are so personal. And even as we're here talking and we are laughing about some of the, I know in the moments that you were actually dealing with it, it wasn't funny. And I'm so sure that somebody is watching us today that's going to pick or learn something from it. And that is the essence of the show. We don't want to come out here and just talk about people's lives or just expose people or just talk for talking's sake, but that others can learn too. Because I'm sure that a young girl out there, maybe a young guy out there, maybe a parent even is watching and maybe they're dealing with the same issues with their children and they can learn from it.
Hope so.
So at what point now did you and your mom start working on your relationship?
I actually owe this to my ex, one of my ex,
Okay.
and going back to parents not apologizing. I
Okay.
had a lot of resentment for my mom.
Okay.
Up until I was probably like 23, 24, a lot of resentment, and it caused us a lot of strain in our relationship. And this is the best advice he gave me. He said, if you're looking for an apology from your mom, you're probably never ever gonna get it. And you need to just come to realization. He was like, it's been years since everything happened, and you're still holding that grudge. Who is it really hurting, you or her? And I was like, I guess you're right. And he was like, if you just forgive her for everything she said, did to you, life will be so much easier. And he was like, from this day on, promise me you'll forgive your mom. And at first I was like, I'm not gonna forgive her. And he got upset with me because my mouth is slick. Okay, he got upset with me. He was like, fine, if you don't want to forgive your mom, this relationship might not happen. And I'm like, oh. I was like, okay, Mr. Serious thing. So I was like, just give me some time. And eventually I just decided to forgive my mom, let it go, never talk about any of the things or throw it in her face. And that actually helped because after I was able to forgive her, it was a lot easier to just talk to my mom.
Okay. So you finally forgave her and then you approached your mom and spoke with her.
I didn't. Oh wait, okay, no. Okay, so I missed this detail. I just remembered it. When he told me to forgive my mom, the first time I went into her room very angry. I forgive you. Okay. And obviously I'm still angry and I'm saying I forgive you.
Yeah.
And he was on the phone and he was like, that's not forgiven. He was like, that's not forgiven. And that's when I was like, okay, well, give me some time. Let me process this, please, because
That's the second time that you're going to process it, right?
so I was finally able to just like forgive her. And I didn't go in to tell her I forgive her or nothing. I just, forgave her
Absorb.
myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then our relationship became better. And now we're like best friends and she won't leave me alone. I recently moved out, and oh my God, she wants me to be there all the time. And then my brother, my brother saw me in my mom's room. He's like, "You moved out into the mom's room?" I was like, "She keeps calling me over here." Our relationship is a lot better now, so I'm thankful for
very
that.
good. That's very good. And then how was the relationship like between your mom and your daughter in the time prior to you forgiving her?
Oh man, they were like two peas in a pod. Like they were really,
Inseparable.
yeah. They would be watching TV together, doing everything together. And I actually have this one picture on my phone of them because I came back from work and I see this two of them sitting on the edge of the bed just watching cartoons. So I snapped the picture and I'm like, this is the same woman. Like, girl. Yeah.
So after everything is said and done, did you ever have a conversation with your mom where you guys discussed everything that passed?
No, because I feel like she has a lot of regret. My dad my stepdad has told me a little bit, like, she always wanted us to be cool and stuff like that. So he always told me, like, she regret doing this, regret doing that. But like I said, African parents are not going to tell their children that. So I didn't feel the need to like talk to her and bring that out of her
Okay.
because I just felt like obviously it's hard for her to talk about it. So let's
Yes.
just move on.
You just leave it alone.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So now, what are some of the lessons that you have learned from your parents that you are going to do or you're going to use in your parenting with your daughter?
Okay, so one other thing is talking to my daughter with respect.
Okay.
because just because she's little doesn't mean that she's not a human being. Um, Trying to just conversate with her because kids are learning. They're new to the world. They don't know. So for you to constantly criticize them for little things or call them names for little things that they don't know any better. It's not like they're doing it on purpose, you know. So I mean, I try to be more understanding when it comes to Victoria. A
Okay.
lot more understanding.
Okay. So respect, that's one.
Respect,
Okay.
understanding, and
Mhm.
trust.
Okay. What is the trust like? How do you build trust with your child?
I tell her she can be able to tell me anything. And when she tells me something that I don't like, I've told her, like, even if it upsets me, I won't like take it out on you because you were able to tell me the truth.
Okay.
You know, let me use an example. This example, I told her, don't ever lie to me. And one time she lied to me, and it was over something so small, but I had to like take action right then and there. And she's always good in school, always getting good marks. And one day she got a bad mark, and she lied. And Rosalind, you know, they go to the same school, and she lied about it. She was like, Rosalind came to my school and she just put a bad mark as just a joke, da 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 da. And I was like, oh, okay. And I just signed the paper and just let it go back to the school. And come to find out, that weekend we went to go see Rosalind and Auntie Anita and them. And I was like, why would you put a bad mark on Victoria's thing? She said, what? I didn't do that. So I got home and I told Victoria, I was like, what's the one thing I told you not to do to me? Don't lie. That's when I would get upset, when you lie. So I gave her a whooping that time, and I was like, you lied to me, so this is what's going to happen. I told you not to lie to me. And now, when she gets a bad mark at school, which she hardly ever does, but when she gets a bad mark or something happens in school, she's able to come tell me without, and I try not to get mad, because once you get mad, they'll be afraid to come to you next time and tell you the truth. So I'll be like, okay, you know what? You told me the truth. It's okay. Let's talk about it. Let's make sure it doesn't happen again. Yeah. And another thing I do when I pick her from school, which I just started doing, I saw this online and it's called Roses and Thorns. So the roses is all the good things that happen in school, and thorns is all the bad things that happen in school. And she gets into the car. I was like, okay, girl, roses and thorns, what happened? And she's like, roses today was good, you know, and tell me all the things. And just, yeah, just open communication.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's very good. So now, would you call your mom an African mom or an American mom, or what kind of mom would you say you are?
See, the funny thing about this is now my mom is Americanized as hell. She is Americanized as hell. Okay, one example. She might kill me, but I don't know. One example is, okay, I got a tattoo when I was 22, 23, but I hid it for years. It's on my back, so I hid it for years. And one day she got a tattoo, you know, after telling us, don't get a tattoo under my house. So she gets a tattoo, and I'm like, you got a tattoo? I got a tattoo. I've been hiding this for years. And guess what? She's more tatted than I am today. She is more Americanized. You know?
So what kind of mom are you? Are you an American or an African?
Uh, what do you think, Victoria? A mix? I think
And
so
what
too.
you believe that too?
Yeah, I still
Okay.
try to hold, because African culture, don't get me wrong, it's not all bad.
It's never.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, they have good intentions. I think it's just not.
Communicated well.
Yeah, so that's what I try to do. Is like still hold those African values, but still try to be a little bit like understanding to an American child.
So are you an American child or an African child?
I like to think of myself as an African child, but people don't like to think that.
And why do you think they don't think you're an African child?
Maybe I'm too Americanized.
Okay.
Maybe I don't speak the language.
Okay, so 7 days out of the week, how many times do you eat African food?
Oh, not recently, but before a lot. But
Okay.
recently, I've been on my healthy journey. Too much starch in African food. But I did tell my mom to cook some peanut butter soup yesterday. So
So Jennifer, you are an African child.
I am. I
You
am.
eat fufu, don't you?
Oh, of course.
You are very African. There is absolutely no way you can be eating fufu and calling yourself American,
Nope.
okay?
Nope. Swallows. Okay.
That's great. So finally, Jennifer, look at the camera and advise the children or the younger ones that are watching. And then when you are done, look at the same camera and advise the parents that are watching too.
Okay. Okay, for the kids, the children, try to be understanding of your parents because they are African and they've grown up that way. They've lived their life the whole African culture way. So you have to understand that there's nothing you can do to change them. So arguing and all that is not worth it. I would suggest just talking to them or having somebody else that can talk to them for you. But arguing and trying to change your parent is never gonna work. I can tell you that from experience. It is never gonna work. So the easiest way is to just try to do what they say, try to be understanding of their views, but also try to get help if you feel like you need to really, really talk to them. I feel like if African kids are able to talk to their parents, they would things will be a lot more better. And for the parents, please try to be understanding that you brought these kids to America or you had these kids in America. They are not gonna be Africanized, unfortunately. You 10% of their I want to say 10% of their life is at home and the rest is outside. So they're not gonna be Africanized, just coming to the house to sleep, wake up and go back to school. So it is very important for African parents to try to talk to their kids like adults, talk to them with respect. Don't belittle them. Just because they're kids doesn't mean that they don't know any better. If you feel like you raised your child very well, then they should know better. And just try to be a little bit more understanding in life situations.
Thank you so much, Jennifer.
You're
That
welcome.
was very deep. That was very inspirational. I will be that. Thank you. Thank you all for joining us live today for We Need to Talk. Please remember to subscribe. If you've not done so, remember, please share the link so others can join. And you can always watch this episode and all the old ones at your own time of convenience. Is uploaded. The channel's name is Owusuwa TV. Again, it's Owusuwa TV. Also, remember ONO Signature. We are here for all your African fashion needs. You can contact us at 469-769-2306. Again, it's 469-769-2306. As we all know, Mother's Day is coming up here in the US. I think some other countries already had their Mother's Day. But if you're within the US, please contact ONO Signature. We can customize gifts for the moms. So please remember the name again is ONO Signature. And you can call us 469-769-2306. Again, it's 469-769-2306. You can follow us on Instagram at OO Signature. Again, it's OO Signature, or you can also like our page on Facebook at OO Signature. Remember, We Need to Talk is every other Sunday. So you see us today. The next time that we will be live for We Need to Talk is April 25th. Again, it's April the 25th. And it's going to be at 3 p.m. as always. And before we go, I know Jennifer has a website. So I'm going to give her the opportunity to tell us a little bit about it and give us information for anybody that wants to purchase something from her. So Jennifer, go ahead.
Okay, so I do have a website called bouncyhouse.com, and it is If you're African, hopefully you know how to spell Mawusi. No, I'm just playing. It is MAWUSI house.com. And I sell clothing, purses, hopefully soon to be, bathing suits and whatnot. So, yeah, I'll be having a sale for Mother's Day as well.
Contacts.
Contact where?
If somebody wanna buy something from you.
From my website.
Yes.
I'm really bad about taking calls of numbers I don't know. Obviously, she tried to call
Trust
me.
me, I know. Trying to get her for the show was interesting.
So yeah, just mowseehouse.com. If you do need to contact me, I do have Facebook and Instagram, and it's both Mowsey House. Again, that's MAWUSI house.com.
Maybe I should say Mausi in like the African accent. It's Mausi.
See, I'm too Americanized.
It's MAWUSI house, right?
Yes, house.com.
Mousy house, and house is HOUSE. I will put it in the link so that you can get it from there, or
And
you
that's
can always reach out to me and I can send you the link.
yeah, and that's my handle for Instagram as well as Facebook. So if you need to contact me, Facebook is probably the best because Instagram filters out the messages to like junk and stuff. But Facebook is probably the best if you need any contact me.
Thank you all so much again. Thank you for joining us. We'll be seeing you live again on April the 25th at 3 p.m. here on Owusuwa TV. Have a wonderful week. I hope everything that you are going to be doing this week is successful, and I cannot wait to meet you again. And lastly, I want to also tell all the Ghanaian parents and all the Ghanaians that understand tree that are watching, you can join us every Saturday on African Media 247 online or on Facebook for all the shows that we have. We have a show on the radio called Baby Anyoy. That is in Tree. So if you are Americanized, like somebody seated next to me, you might not understand what we are talking about there. But if you speak Tree, please join us, African Media 247 online and on Facebook as well for the show. It's every Saturday. We have different shows on that channel also, or on the radio, also on Sundays as well. So please join us live. Thank you all so much. Please remember to subscribe, and subscribe. Have a wonderful week. Thank you.
And thank you for having me.
Welcome.